Yeah, yeah. That's the way every day goes. Every time we've no control. If the sky is pink and white.
In 2021, Arif Medical Sendirian Berhad, a growing force in private healthcare through its Arif Plus clinic chain, has introduced a bold initiative, the Medical Partnership Growth Scheme, or MPGS. It was a visionary move to bring seasoned general practitioners into the fold, not just as clinicians, but as co-strategists and co-managers. With promises of shared profits, flexible roles, and access to state-of-the-art digital tools, the MPGS attracted strong interest. Among the earliest partners, Dr. Azlan Yusuf, a veteran GP known for his experience and steady hand. By mid-2023, the vision of mutual growth began to falter. Under the surface of professionalism, tension simmered. Allegiances shifted, and one after another, Arif Medical would confront the consequences of broken trust.
Thank you. New heads. So, Dr. Azlan, we're thrilled to have you on board. Through the NPGS, we're offering you a strategic role. With your extensive experience, I believe that we can expand Arif Plus to new heads.
Thank you, Mr. Arif. I'm honored to be considered. Could you walk me through the partnership terms?
Certainly, this isn't an employment contract. It's a non-employment strategic expansion. You'll be placed at the Arif Plus branch in the Taman Sri Bayu and take on both clinical and operational responsibility. We have shared the revenue and you will have the access to our clinical protocol. So, the National Health Insurance Billing System, digital screening tools, and our patient management platform developed with a third-party partner.
Sound promising. Any exclusivity clause?
Yes, that's crucial. While you're with us, here you are strictly prohibited from marketing, promoting, or preparing to establish any competing clinic or healthcare service within a 30-kilometer radius. And even after the agreement ends, for 5 years, you cannot set up, manage, or advise any general or patient clinic within that same radius.
Understood. I accept those terms. They sound like a solid opportunity.
Welcome to Arif Plus family.
Thank you.
But by mid-2023, the once promising partnership began to fracture.
Please take a seat. Thank you. Azlan, I'm not here to argue, but I need to ask you, why some patients being referred to other clinics and why are others being met outside our approved supplier system?
I know this will become up, Arif. Sometimes your system is just too rigid. A few patients needed meds not listed in our approval supply. As for the reference, I only suggested alternative for follow-up care that we could not provide.
This isn't just about flexibility, it's about trust and consistency. Our protocol exists for a reason, and now we have emails showing some staff acting under your team's direction by passing company system. You see here? The email?
Maybe we have reached the end of the road. Arif, I don't want further conflict. Perhaps it's best part we part away.
Are you saying that you want to terminate the agreement?
Yes, by mutual consent.
Alright, I'll be notify our legal team, but remember that the post-termination restriction still apply.
Okay.
Not long after the contract was terminated by mutual consent, a new clinic opened, not far from the former Arif Plus branch. Visuals show a brand new clinic signboard, says BioCare Wellness Clinic, and the clinic was under the name of Dr. Azlan and his wife. The color scheme and branding replicate Arif Plus. 3 former staff from the Taman Sri Bayu branch are seen at the front desk. Patient arrive and automated appointment reminders are sent. Within 10 kilometers of the old Arif Plus branch, BioCare raised questions that could not longer be ignored.
Boss, I have already traced it.
Huh? Trace what?
Wait, So,
We have Tracy. Bayuka is using the same screening platform we integrated 2 years ago, the one that we developed by Pulse Diagnostics.
It's impossible. Both work with us under partnership terms.
So that's not just it. The agreement wasn't properly vetted. It wasn't reviewed by our legal team, and worse, it's full of grey areas. No clear ownership, no exclusivity clauses, and it was never registered with the ministry boss.
We co-developed that system for our clinics, our data, and our fundings.
Exactly. But here's where it gets worse. That platform was partially funded by a public grant under the National Digital Health Program 2020. There's a 5-year restriction. It cannot be used for commercial gain or exclusive deals.
And Pulse gave BioCare access?
Yes, we have email evidence suggesting a direct agreement between Pulse and BioCare, which was signed just weeks after your contract with Dr. Azran ended.
They are using public funded tech for private gain. Illegally, this isn't just a breach of contract. This could be regulatory fraud.
I think we need to file a formal complaint and inform the Ministry of Health, but we should also consider action against Pulse and maybe even BioCare.
No more waiting. We need to protect what's ours.
Yes, please. Wait, boss, have you seen the new email Dr. Sarah sent to you?
Sorry, what email?
So, this is the email that she sent us this morning.
Is it true Dr. Sarah joined MedCircle?
Yes, we have confirmed it through a soft probe. She's now consulting for the Urban Women's Virtual Program, very similar to the one she worked on with us.
She was part of the pilot. She helped us shape the outreach model, and she knew we plan to expand it to nationwide.
So I have reviewed all communication. It was all informal. Emails, chats, and monthly honorarium paid through the outreach unit. Nothing signed, no NDA, no non-compete clause, no intellectual property assignment.
But we had an understanding she even agreed to not engage in similar projects for at least 1 year.
So verbal agreements may hold some weight, but in court, especially with no clear terms and no defined scope of restrictions, it's weak at best. So she can claim it wasn't binding, that she was volunteering or consulting without exclusivity.
So we can't do anything.
It seems like that, but we can try to send a letter of concern. But enforcement, that's another story. Without a formal contract, pursuing breach or misappropriation would likely fail.
Twice in 1 year. We trusted people. We share ideas, models, systems, and now we are watching them walk away with pieces that we built.
Well, lesson learned, Arif. Informal may be faster, but it's never safer.
In the world of partnerships, loyalty is priceless. And sometimes the deepest cuts come not from those who've left, but from those who haven't yet.
Okay, since everyone is here, Assalamualaikum and welcome to our second board meeting. Today we have a few issues to discuss, so let's start.
So this is the form of from a potential investor. It came through back channel. You can take a look.
That color scheme, that layout, even the workflow steps here, it's MPGS materials, just like our internal templates.
So we have cross-checked and the presentation bears unmistakable resemblance to the materials we share only with active partners. It appears that Dr. Ahmed is shopping for a new clinic concept.
But Amir is still with us. He hasn't resigned. Technically, he hasn't violated any non-compete yet.
Yet, that's the keyword. He hasn't left yet, but this isn't innocent. This groundwork preparation, and we all know that's what comes next.
The MPGS agreement includes clauses on confidentiality and use of proprietary materials. If he's repurposing our models to attract funding for a competing venture, that could be a breach, boss.
We trusted Ame. We brought him into the fold. He's seen everything, our protocol, our digital system, even our growth plans.
Do we confront him?
Not yet. Let's gather everything, timestamp, slides, source files, and cross-reference. If he's working out with our blueprint, I want it documented.
Okay, I understood. I will initiate a quiet audit, and if he's preparing to compete using our proprietary resources, we will be ready.
As the dust began to settle around BioCare and Pulse Diagnostics, Arif sought clarity and direction. For that, he turned to the legal team, Miss Jenny and Miss Wana, to map the next step forward and to protect what they had built.
Arif, we have conducted a full analysis of the agreements and the recent developments. First and foremost is the non-compete clause in Dr. Azlan's MPGS agreement. Under Contracts Act 1950, the restraint of trade are typically void unless proven reasonable. His restraint of trade is 5-year restriction within a 30-kilometer radius is broad, yes, but not unchallengeable.
How strong is our case?
It depends on our ability to show legitimate business interests. If we can demonstrate that the restriction protects confidential business models and patient base, it stands a fair chance of being enforced.
What about the referral? And patients being sent outside the system?
Yes, that's where fiduciary duties comes in. Under the Partnership Act 1961, Dr. Azlan had a duty in good faith. Redirecting patients and using non-approved suppliers can be classified as misconduct. If we can establish financial loss, we have brought for compensation.
Yes, for that, we will need the patient's log and supplier order for solid evidence.
Fadila, can you call Elisha to bring all the prepared documents here? Hi, Elisha. Mr. Arif asked you to come with all the documents we have prepared. Can you come now? Here's the document. Thank you, Elisha. And about BioCare, it's practically a clone of our clinic.
BioCare, that's misappropriation of trade secrets and potentially passing off. If your branding confuses patients into thinking BioCare is connected to Arif Plus, you can file for injunction and damages.
We also trace their use of pulse diagnostic software. The software was never registered under the Medical Device Act 2012. That alone already void the agreement. And what's worse, Pulse Diagnostic shared it with BioCare right after Dr. Azlan left.
That's really correct.
Absolutely. It's a breach of regulatory compliance. You can terminate your agreement, report them to Ministry of Health and pursue damages.
Of course, I will do that. And Dr. Sarah? I heard she moved to a competitor.
Unfortunately, your arrangement with her was informal. Under the Contracts Act 1950, verbal understandings are not enforceable. You can send a letter of concern, but legally it's very weak.
We recommend you next time to tighten your contract to enhance the protection for Arif Plus. No more verbal agreement, everything should be documented.
Okay, note. Elisha, make sure you take note on that. And what about Dr. Ahmed?
Dr. Ahmed's investor proposal reflects MBGS branding and patient models. While Dr. Ahmed hasn't left yet, it might suggest preparation. Under Partnership Act 1961, it might constitute anticipatory breach. We advise you to do a confidential audit.
That sounds good. Then prepare the injunction, file the complaints, and let's make sure this doesn't happen again.
Understood.
So now I'm going to explain more details on the issues that have been discussed in Roleplay. Let's take a look at the issue between Arif Plus Medical and Azlan. The main problems is whether the non-complete clause in the MPGS agreement is valid under Section 25 of the Contract Act. These sections say that agreements restraining trade are usually void unless they are reasonable. In this case, the clause stopped Dr. Azlan from opening the clinic for 5 years and within a 30-kilometer radius. This seemed too harsh and may be unfair, especially if the clinic is located in urban areas. So, the clause may be void and Arif Plus might not have a strong case based on that agreement. However, Arif Plus can still take legal actions under the Partnership Act. Section 30 that requires partners to act in a good faith. If Dr. Azlan redirected patient or used unauthorized supplier to awaken Arif Plus before opening his own clinic, that could be a breach of fiduciary duties. Arif Plus can also bring a sue or for misuse of trade secrets. If Dr. Azlan used patient data, copied branding or business method, that could be lead to a claim for passing off. In short, while the non-complete clause may not hold, Arif Plus still has legal ground if they can prove Dr. Azlan acted in bad faith or misused confidential information. Now, let's take a look at the misuse between Arif Plus Medical and Pulse Diagnostic Syndrome Berhad. The first problem is illegality. Pulse use unregistered medical software, which against the Medical Device Act 2012. Any device, including software, must be registered before use. Since Pulse didn't follow this, the agreement may be void and both parties could face legal risk. Next is uncertainty. Under Section 30 of the Contract Act 1950, any agreement with vague or unclear essential terms is void. In this case, the agreement between Arif Plus Medical and Pulse Diagnostic lacked clarity on software ownership exclusivity and data integrations. It was also not reviewed legally and involved public grants that restrict exclusive use for 5 years, and this unclear and undisclosed term make the agreement legally unenforceable. Finally, misrepresentations. Pulse gave the same software to BioCare even though Arif Plus Medical believed that they had exclusivity. They also didn't disclose certain restrictions on software use. Under the law, hiding important facts or misleading the other party makes a contract void. So, in this case, Arif Medical can claim that Pulse acted dishonestly and may seek to cancel the agreement or claim for damages.
Next is the issue of Dr. Sarah. The issue is whether the informal email agreement between Arif Medical and Dr. Sarah Khalid is legally binding under Section 10 of the Contract Act. Section 10 states that a valid contract must include a clear offer, acceptance, consideration, and certainty of terms. In addition, restraint of trade clauses must be specific, reasonable, and in writing to be enforceable. Similarly, the understanding between Arif Medical and Dr. Sarah was made informally via email and lack of a formal written contract. It did not clearly define the scopes, duration, or consequences of the restraint, nor was there any consideration involved. Due to the uncertainty and lack of formality, the email understanding does not meet the requirement of a valid contract under Malaysian law. Therefore, it is not legally binding, and Arif Medical has no basis to enforce the 1-year restraint or pursue any claim for breach. For Dr. Amir's issues, the issue is whether Dr. Amir's action in preparing to establishing a similar clinic while still a partner at Arif Plus amount to a breach of fiduciary duty or anticipatory breach of contract. Under Section 30 and 33 of the Partnership Act, partners must act in good faith and avoid conduct that harms or competes with the partnership. Similarly, Dr. Amir's investor proposal, which closely resembles Arif Medical's branding and operational model, may involve misuse of confidential information. Although he has not left the partnership, his actions suggest a preparatory breach. Arif Medical therefore has valid grounds to investigate the matter and formally remind Dr. Amir of his legal obligation under the partnership agreement. In conclusion, Arif Medical has valid grounds to investigate Dr. Amir's conduct and should formally remind him of his ongoing fiduciary duties under the Partnership Act 1961 and the MPGS agreement. Here are the recommendations. First, Arif Medical should formalize all agreement in written contract, clearly defining ownership, confidentiality, exit procedures, and non-compete clauses. Second, the company must comply with the Medical Device Act 2012, ensuring all software is registered and stop using unregistered technology. Third, Arif should monitor internal risks, include notice clauses in partnership agreement, and pursue legal action only if enforceable. 4. Protect intellectual property by registering trademarks, logos, and clinic design and safeguarding proprietary system. 5. Establish a legal or compliance team to review contract, manage regulatory risk, and train key staff on legal basics. Last one, Arif should develop proprietary digital tools, reduce legal risk, and collaborate with Ministry of Health to build trust and credibility.
That is all for our video presentation. Thank you.